What is up, YouTube? It's Ryan. And you guys may not know this about me, but I'm actually a huge movie fan. I've been watching movies my whole life, and it's something I'm just really interested in. And since Christopher Nolan's new movie is coming out on Friday called Dunkirk, I decided why not make a video saying my ranking of Christopher Nolan movies. But let me just say, this is not an easy thing to do because I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. He's probably my favorite director of all time. So I love every single movie he's made. So making a list of his top movies was challenging, but it has to be done because with every good director, he has his top movies, his best movies, and I'm gonna name them right now. So with that said, here we go. Starting with number 9 is Following. Following is actually a movie I hadn't really seen for a long time. Like, I knew it was by Christopher Nolan, and I knew it was his first movie, which is in black and white with like a $10,000 budget. So I was like, I wanted to see it because I love Chris Nolan, but I'm like, can a $10,000 budgeted movie be entertaining and can actually keep my attention and be a worthy Christopher Nolan movie? Yes, it can. Following is a very interesting movie. I can't really say much about it because, first of all, the plot, I saw it so long ago, and the plot is really specific and a little bit confusing, so I can't really say what the whole gist of the plot is. But let me just say it has a lot of Christopher Nolan elements. If you're a fan of his filmmaking, if you're a fan of non-linear storytelling, I would definitely recommend it because it is just a really original, great movie, and it shows that you can make a great movie with whatever budget you want as long as you have a good story. Story is key in filmmaking, and it doesn't matter the budget. You can have $1 billion budget, but if it doesn't have a good story, then it might not be a good movie. But you can have a $1 budget. If you can make a good story out of it, it can be a good movie. So that is my number 9. And number 8 goes to Insomnia. It also took me a while to see Insomnia after I was a big Chris Nolan fan because I know he just directed this movie, and I'm mostly a fan of Chris Nolan's writing because I love how he makes original stories, but he really just directed this movie. Also, I believe it's a remake of an old movie, so though I love Christopher Nolan movies, the thing I love most about them, like I said, is his original movies. So I was like, I guess I'll see it one day, and it could be okay. But it actually really is a great movie. Like, I wouldn't say it has a lot of Christopher Nolan elements to it. I'd say it's just really well directed and has a good story, and it's very entertaining. I'd say even with Following, this is probably the least Christopher Nolan-like movie because it's more just like I said, it's based on another person's script, so you can't really do much with your style if you don't have your own script to it. But it's a very solid movie, and I highly recommend it. Number 7, Batman Begins. I'm sure some people may be shocked that I have it this low on his list, but like I said, when it comes to Christopher Nolan, every single movie he's made is great, so it's so hard to say what's above the other. But Batman Begins is a great superhero movie. It has a great story. It sets up Batman and Bruce Wayne, the character, and how he became Batman so freaking well. It has a great villain, great suspense, great characters, excellent acting. I will say probably is my least favorite of the Dark Knight trilogy because I think it just lacks something. I don't know what it is. Something about it. I mean, it's great. The sets are great. The storytelling is great, but I think the story could be a little bit more interesting. It could have caught my attention a little more. But overall, it is a great movie and definitely one of the better superhero movies ever made. Next up on the list is the third in the Dark Knight trilogy, and that is The Dark Knight Rises. I'm gonna be honest, after Inception came out, I started loving Christopher Nolan, and I was like so excited for his next movie. And when I found out his next movie was gonna be the conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy, this is probably the most anticipated movie I've ever had in my life. I've never been more excited about a movie ever in theaters. I remember I was counting down the days, the hours, the minutes, the seconds for this movie to come out. I think it was summer of 2012. I was so freaking excited. And I was pretty young then. I was like maybe 14, and I was so excited for this movie. 16, not 14. Sorry. And this is a great movie. I loved Bane as a character. Bane really stole the show in this movie. I loved the dynamic he had between Batman, and Tom Hardy did such a great job. It's a very entertaining movie throughout. One thing I have a problem with is that it's not really like his other Batman movies. It's more just like an entertaining blockbuster movie. There's not really enough of the Chris Nolan aspect to make it like amazing. But I would put it above Batman Begins just because I found it more entertaining than Batman Begins, even if Batman Begins may have been a better made movie. But yeah, I must say I was a little disappointed with this movie when it came out because the expectations were so high after The Dark Knight. So it's really hard to top them, to be honest. But Dark Knight Rises is a very solid movie, and I did like it a lot. Number 5 goes to Interstellar. Interstellar was probably my second most anticipated movie of all time after The Dark Knight. So yeah, I freaking love Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I was so looking forward to Interstellar because mostly it was the first really original movie and sci-fi movie after Inception. And Inception, you'll see soon how much I like Inception. Yeah, Interstellar is a great movie. I actually didn't love it the first time I saw it because, I don't know, it was really different than I expected. But after viewing it a couple more times, I think like I've seen it 4 or 5 times now, I really enjoy it. I think it has a great story. Matthew McConaughey does an amazing job. and you really catch a lot of things you don't see the first time when you watch it. So I think this movie, you really need multiple viewings for it. Yeah, Interstellar is a great movie. I really like it. It's not as great as a lot of people say. I think it might be one of his most overrated movies in a way, but that's not really saying much because, again, I'll say it's 1,000 more times. Christopher Nolan is a beast. But yeah, I think number 5 is a good spot for it because it's not my favorite movie by him, but it's definitely not his worst movie. Number 4 goes to The Prestige. I think I saw The Prestige a while ago. I think my dad showed it to me one day. He had the DVD, so we decided to watch it at home. And I knew it was about Chris Nolan, but I wasn't really as big as a fan of Chris Nolan back then, so I didn't really have much to expect. I thought it was going to be a good movie about magicians, and it ended up being a great movie about magicians. The Prestige is so complex, so innovative. Something about the filmmaking and the non-linear storytelling in it. Yeah, Chris Nolan loves doing that. Something about it is just so great. I've seen The Prestige maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 times, and I love it every single time. It feels like a different movie every time I watch because you catch so much that you might have missed in the previous viewings. And I just love his original movies. It was based on the book, but he does it in such an original way. The screenplay is so well written. Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale do an incredible job. So yeah, Prestige. Great movie. Okay, down to my top 3. You guys may know which movies these are, but which one will I put above the other? Let's find out. Number 3, The Dark Knight. I know you guys might be shocked that I put Dark Knight that low, number 3, but to be honest, my top 3 are all 10 out of 10s. I love them probably equally, so it was hard to put one over the other, so I had to put Dark Knight at 3, but it's number 1 in my heart. The Dark Knight is the greatest superhero movie ever made. I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating, I don't take it back, I mean it. The greatest superhero movie ever made. And it's not just the greatest superhero movie ever made, it's one of the greatest movies ever made. The thing I love the most about The Dark Knight is it's not just a superhero movie. In fact, I wouldn't even say it is a superhero movie besides the Batman aspect of it. It's an insanely good crime thriller with an amazing villain and a great cast and such a great story. The storytelling and the filmmaking in this movie is flawless. It might be one of the most flawless stories ever told on screen. Heath Ledger pulls one of the greatest performances ever, and he deserved the Oscar for it. I was not surprised when he won. He was a new person. He was not Heath Ledger portraying the Joker. He was a Joker. That's it. The Joker was on screen. Heath Ledger was not on screen. Ever. I can go on and on about The Dark Knight, but I'm sure everyone's seen it. We all know how great it is, so I'll go on to number 2. Number 2 goes to Memento. I've heard great things about Memento for a long time, but just like The Prestige and just like Insomnia and following, it took me a while to actually see it. And once I saw it, I was like, why have I not seen this movie? This movie is fantastic. Guy Pearce's performance is amazing. The story is so amazing. And of course, the way they tell the story by showing it in reverse order. Who thought that could ever work? I actually knew about the reverse order aspect before I saw it. And I thought to myself, there's no way I'll be intrigued by a movie that goes in reverse order. That's so boring and there's no point to it. But they pull it off so well. I can go on about this movie, the whole thing, the twist at the end, I was shocked and it just works so freaking well. And when you realize it's not actually the end, it's the beginning, that's not the twist, you realize it when you watch it, so no spoilers. But the way they do that, the way they make the end so like amazing and you realize it's the beginning too, it's so perfect, so freaking perfect. This is another movie I've seen maybe like between 5 and 10 times, and I'll see it more times and love it every single time. Memento is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it yet, and it's possible you haven't because it's one of Christopher Nolan's smaller movies, it's not like The Dark Knight where everyone's seen it, it's like a small movie. I highly recommend seeing it, and when you see it, you're gonna wanna show your friends and your family and everyone because it's so freaking good. Okay, time for my top Christopher Nolan movie. You probably already know it, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Number 1, Inception. I don't know where to even begin about Inception. I remember seeing Inception in the theaters opening weekend. It was 2010. I was about 14 years old. My dad saw it. He said he loved it and I had to see it. I had to see it the same weekend. There's no way I could miss it. I went in, I saw it. My mind was blown. To be honest though, the first time I saw it, I was really confused. I know like a lot of people were like, it's not that confusing. You just have to pay attention. I was one of those people who was really confused when I saw it, and I was like, it's really good, they're great parts, but like I was kind of lost in the middle. So I walked out of the movie, I was like, this is a great movie. I really liked it, and I can't wait to see it again. Then I saw it a second time. Second time I saw it, I liked it 20 times more than the first time. I was like, how did I not realize the plot? This is so complex, but like I'm actually getting it, and this story is so freaking awesome. So I walked out of it that time, I'm like, wow, that's a great movie. Wow, like that's 10 times better than the first time, and wow, like I understand your obsession with it, Dad. That was freaking awesome. Then I saw it a third time in theaters, and the same thing happened. I liked it 20 times more than the previous time, the second time I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This story is freaking epic. Oh my god, I love this. And then I saw it a fourth time. It became my favorite movie of all time. I know it's become kind of a cliche to say Inception's your favorite movie of all time because a lot of people have seen it, a lot of people say it's their favorite movie, and it's such a big movie, it's hard not for a lot of people to say it's their favorite movie. But I mean it when I say it's my favorite movie of all time. I can watch this a billion times and still love it every single time. I know I said I've seen Memento, The Dark Knight, The Prestige between 5 and 10 times. I've seen Inception probably like 16 or 17 times already. I love Inception so much, and if you haven't seen Inception, why are you still on this video? Turn off the computer, slap down the laptop, go watch Inception. I'm gonna show my kids this movie, my grandkids. I'm gonna like watch this until I die. It's such a great movie, and I could not recommend it enough. Okay, enough with the Nolan fanboying. Have you guys seen all these movies, and which one's your favorite? What would you rank these movies? Comment below and let me know. And more videos will be coming soon, more conspiracies, don't worry. I'm RyanGo, and I'll see you next time. Oh, I can't freaking wait for Dunkirk.